Thanks, Brian, and I think that's another demonstration of the fact that what's happened to Broadford and the mill at Broadford and the community of Broadford has actually touched a raw nerve on the whole of the public and the community. People are just sick and tired of seeing large Australian multinationals shirking their responsibilities to the community and getting rid of Australian jobs, and I think people have had enough of it. Well, we're going to go. Jobs! What do we want? Now! Okay, come on, we'll give him a few bursts before we get some tucker on, all right? What do we want? Jobs! What do we want? Now! What do we want? Jobs! What do we want? Now! What do we want? Jobs! What do we want? Now! What do we want? Jobs! What do we want? Now!
We'll have to leave Broadford, and it's splitting families. It'll split families up because of the fact that you've got to try and do the best what you can for your family, whether it's reallocate or sever your ties with the mill and try and get a job elsewhere in the community, which is very hard at this present time, and especially talking on my own behalf at my age, just turned 50. Not many people want you to, don't want to employ people at that age. So, the closing down of the mill will just have an enormous impact on the whole town.
Well, at least 3 businesses will shut. At least 3 will just close.
Amcor directors just don't realise what they've done to themselves, let alone to good, loyal working men. They don't realise what they've done to themselves. They are losing men here which other companies would kill to have.
We're working blokes.
Yeah.
Days work, days pay.
But we're not stupid though, are we?
No.
Like, if we'd gone like other mills have, if we'd gone for 2 or 3 years at a loss,
You wouldn't
and
be
then all of a
scratching
sudden
your
the
head.
question comes up, are you going to keep going? You're not stupid. You're going to think, well, we're not making money. We're losing money.
It's common sense.
We
Common
haven't
sense
got
to
orders. All that sort of stuff. You're going to look at realistic. But when at the end of the day, both machines are fully loaded. You've made profit.
You're in there.
You can't buy it.
You're batting. Amcor are getting a few bob.
The profits that this little mill and Melbourne mill made went into financing other bigger mills in the company, so it really put the money in the bank for Amcor. And all the workers here have one question as to the stoppage of this machine. Why? Simply why?
Well, they'd give us a tenth of what we'd made here each year and put back into that machine. We'd have been above world standard. Because we were out there, we were killing them. And we were being milked at the same time. You've only got to go over there now and have a look at what the boys do. It's all by hand, it's all sweat. It's not these $1 million setups that they've got at other mills.
With a minimum amount of money spent on it, it could go another 20, 30 years without, it just keeps ticking over. It's one of the most efficient machines in the company.
I see they've given us another 2,000 tonne for tough core because they can't make it anywhere else.
There's a couple of things that are worn out that need changing, like the hydropulper, a few things in the beater room, and away you go again. It could last another 20 years.
It would be pocket money to a company like Amcor to make the improvements that would be needed to keep the mill running and keep it viable, and keep these people within a job, and keep the mill as a Broadford identity, sort of.
Ultimately, I have to make my own view and say, yes, this is the right thing, I'm doing the right thing, I'm doing the wrong thing. If it's the wrong thing, then you've got to look at yourself and say, well, why are you doing it? I had to look at the reasons and what was happening, and I've worked on a brand new greenfield mill over in America, which our company put over there. I've been involved in bigger sites, bigger machines. The future for this machine was limited. Whether it went this year, next year, or the year after, it's at the end of its time.
generations of loyalty and dedication has amounted to zilch. You know, it makes you certainly, it tests your faith in humanity, doesn't it?
State government and company have tried to paint this mill as, you know, an industrial relic, you know, dug out of the dark ages with machines that, you know, don't work. That's rubbish. You know, that's just rubbish. If the company put this mill on the market today, it'd be snapped up just like that. It's a profitable mill with decent machinery, and it produces a product that people continue to want to buy. It's a town that before this had a future. Amcor's problems are to do with errors in corporate strategy, and they're to do with things like dumping of paper on the Australian market.
But this has nothing whatsoever to do with any level of government. This is a decision taken by a very large Australian company, and it is that large Australian company that has to be open and transparent with its workers as to why it made that decision.
This is something which is in the province and the power of the state government. They do control an enormous number of levers at industry policy level, a lot of carrots and a lot of stick, and they can have an influence on investment decisions. And any decent government with some guts to stand up for jobs would be telling this company today, that's the first thing you'd do. You'd pull them into your office as Premier and you'd tell them they are to keep that open, and if they're not going to keep that open, there will be other consequences of that decision for that company. That's what you'd say if you had any strength as a leader.
No politician has the authority to tell a private company what it can or cannot do. I, as a Member of Parliament, have no more right than you have to go to the company and say, come into my office and I'll tell you what you can and cannot do. I mean, we are living in a democracy. We are not living in some sort of tyrannical, despotic country.
Amcor's spoken about the big picture all the time, and they forget sometimes that big pictures are made up of lots of little pictures. And I think that in the big picture for Amcor, Broadford is just one little section of it. But you take out that one, and you take out another one, and the big picture pretty soon falls apart. They're forgetting about people, I think. I feel, and I think the people around the town feel, they've got to at least try.
So today these people have come up to Canberra to make their point nationally, because this is a problem that affects the whole country when companies like Amcor make a decision like this, but in particular to speak up not just for their own jobs, for the people of their community.
I'd like to thank FRAN for obviously welcoming us here in Canberra as a very active local member, and FRAN will be organised this to be signed in, which is great, to come in the proper means and way. But obviously, as FRAN said, the Amcor mill is very important to the area of Broadford, both to the workers, the community, the families that rely on the mill. And what the message we're taking to Amcor by coming here today is clearly this, is that large Australian companies do have a responsibility to regions and to communities, and it doesn't matter how big they are. The day they thought they could sweep Broadford under the mat is the day they made a very, very big mistake. So, as I said, it all seems to be playing out okay. The other thing too is that we've got Steve Price on 3AW Drive Time Show. He wants to do an interview at 5:30 with some of us from here. So that means you know, that's probably the top rating drive time show in Melbourne radio. That means a couple 100,000 people will hear about a trip to Canberra. Now we can get Beasley to make the statement today, or make some comments to us today which are positive. Then we can go to the government and say, now it's your turn, and Fran Bailey has too, so now it's your turn. You've got to step up to the mark. We've got BRUMBY, we've got Fran Bailey, now it's your, we've got Beasley, now it's your turn. What are you going to say? We're in a bit of trouble at the moment because question time's gone well over an hour extra for some condolence speeches, and that means that we can't get hold of any parliamentarians because it's basically a compulsory part of their work to be in their question time. So everything's been thrown out of kilter. So we have to just see what time they finish and rescue what we can out of the rest of today's proceedings. What's still key for us is, of course, that critical for our campaigns that the main thing I'm hoping doesn't get cancelled is the money with Beasley, because that's really very important. if we see CREAN or Ferguson, that's still all right, but if we can grab the opposition leader even for 5 minutes, that would be very important to us. So. But we don't know where it is at the moment because everything, all their times and schedules would have all been thrown out and there'd be development meetings backed up now for sure.
Yeah.
So the worry is that which ones they cut. I reckon they probably might cut ours.
Point out an honest politician, please. I like to see one.
Yeah.
I'll take a photo, a big one, and I'll stick it up in my bedroom. I pray for it every night. Well, look at the election. What they're promising. And follow that to that election, what you got off there.
Yeah. They'll promise you the world before they get in. As soon as they get in, they take it all back.
And then they said, I didn't know about it.
I think Pauline Hanson's got a few good ideas. She's not an educated woman, and that's just what they're fasting on. They're trying to shut her up because she's rocking the boat. But her delivery is not very eloquent or fluent, but her heart's in the right place. She has said some silly things, but show me a politician who hasn't. But I think she's got a fair grasp on the problem. Australians are suffering, and as I said before, why bring more into the country to suffer the same fate that we're suffering? It seems that we're losing our strength here, our will to fight.
I feel sorry for the poor Aussies. They won without a tractor. And can you imagine, from Melbourne to Bendigo on a wheelbarrow? He owned everything, was in the wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
They were pushing it through
in the
bush,
gold rush days. Yeah.
Now they built this country.
Yeah, oh yeah, no doubt.
And now somebody else selling it.
Yeah.
So they're making them quit.
So
they're
we're not
stopping
only exporting,
imports.
we're stopping imports.
They're supporting regional development. They still close the joint up.
Doesn't that up, does it?
Can I say something as well? Like, the machine they want to close is totally recycled paper.
Really? So it's environmental.
And like that's the Australian paper is recycled, and that's all we do.
35,000 tonnes a year.
So it's sustainable production.
Very much so.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
We recycle paper from South Australia, Western Australia, Sydney, all over the country.
So you want us to be making representations to Amcor to review the decision? That's
the people at Broadford are basically saying they're calling on Amcor to review its decision, and what they're asking elected representatives to do. And it's taken us now how many weeks? 4 or 5 weeks. This morning we eventually flushed out Fran Bailey. She's been ducking and weaving this morning in front of the TV cameras. She eventually said, Amcor, please review your decision. And we're calling upon anybody just say to Amcor, we're not saying you keep the mill open. What we're doing is saying we would like you to review your decision because there are some question marks over the spin you put on it, which is that the machine's clapped out, it doesn't make any money, and everything else that's moved, it will be made in Australia. And I reckon we can certainly put a good argument.
The irony of all this is also one of the directors made the statement that Broadford Mill was a licence to print money for Amcor.
But we virtually built the other mills.
Now they're telling us it's not profitable. We just reject that entirely.
But what do you expect to get out of the review if they do it?
Well, what will happen, we think with enough public pressure and public spotlight, then we'll try and get to see either the institutional shareholders plus some of the board of directors and say...
You focus on what's really happening here.
Yes, that's right. But we're willing to be judged by purely financial argument. They can put away... We'll be judged on that alone if need be, and we reckon we can win that one. This is the first time, Simon, that I think we've been involved in a campaign to save jobs where a place makes money.
Yeah.
And once again today, I think we've proved that we are responsible adults.
Yeah.
We're not a pack of fools.
That's right. Okay.
It's all joke. If we had stood around all day and carried on like pork chops, they just turn a deaf ear and that's the end of it.
No, mate, you'll have yourself.
No, I thought we were all very... You know, on that note, I thank you also. From me and to you.